academy soccer where you had high schoolers have to choose between playing for their teams or playing and practicing for the academy, especially well debated on the boys' side. Last year was the first year we saw it come into effect on the girls' side.
And that's a travesty to prevent someone from playing with their school teams. Sorry to say.
And we saw that.
I'm not so sorry to say.
We saw that impact Massapequa, especially last year. They had 3 players that sat out, but Aronov was in that boat before she decided that she wanted to come back and play for her school team. They had to put out the proper paperwork and file for a waiver. And what a difference a great player can make. And also to close out your career playing for your hometown team.
Absolutely. And giving credit to Julia, certainly, as a member of the Eastern New York ODP regional program. So she plays at a very high level.
And someone that has big goals. Back as an 8th grader, she got to meet and play with the great Alex Morgan off the U.S. women's national team during a camp in Brooklyn. And the games that she dressed for, Paris Saint-Germain, PSG, more known on the men's side, and Olympique Lyonnais in France. And she was, while she did get on the field in those games, but she still got to dress and practice with players like Heather O'Reilly, for example, that's been a long-time national team player. So what an unbelievable experience of a lifetime.
Absolutely.
Before you turn 18. Good ball chipped ahead by Aronov into space, and the shot just deflected wide. Sophia Quijada with the chances. Manhasset's defense able to get a touch.
No, but what a nice ball played in by Aronov. A little chip. Gets it to the feet of Quijada, and unfortunately for New Hyde Park, Sophia did not play it quick enough and allowed the defenders to close down the space.
Good work by Andrea Buzos there defensively for New Hyde Park. And Aronov the other way, and New Hyde Park, another good ball, but this time the offsides flag. Their shots have almost all been on goal. 3 goals from Aronov and a couple of terrific services that have led to them.
Here you see the last opportunity. See how quickly the defenders closed down, because that was a little bit slow. How to get an extra touch on the ball, allowing the defenders to close the space.
Room for Kendall Sims as she tries to go to the outside. And that's out of the reach of Ellie Taylor. Let me check that rather. That's 20, Maria Themelis on the outside. Meanwhile, Andrea Waldron, not much action, but along with Joanna Mosseri, the 2 leaders of this New Hyde Park defense. Manhasset last year pitched 8 shutouts. So this is unusual to give up 4 in this opening half. As we get time called with an injured Manhasset player. As they check the knee of a Manhasset forward. And the Indians have had their share of injuries already in this preseason, despite their depth. So as we check on the injury, but Manhasset coming off of a breakthrough season, the best in program history, reaching their first ever Class A final. Seniors like Ava Albanese in goal, Lauren Ferraris, who's now sailing at Boston College, Olivia Wesch now playing at LIU Post, Hallie Palmedo at Division I UConn was a 4-year starting forward, and Lauren Martelli making up that bunch. They got hot at the right time, finishing 8-7-3, but they defeated Southside 1-0 in a semifinal, and then lost to the 1 seed North Shore 4-2 in the A final. And as play resumes, we saw Olivia Dooley being helped off the field for Manhasset, and she was favoring her right knee. And she is a 2-year starter at holding mid. As Dooley is being checked on, a verbal commitment to USC for lacrosse. So we wish her the best here. It is such a tight window carry for the soccer season. Your playoffs begin around October the 15th. It's about less than a 6-week season, truly.
You're right, Ralph, and that's I've said this more than once, and it's all due to the fact that the state tournament is what all the schedules evolve around, and to me, it's the tail wagging the dog. And I think that we compress our schedules. We play 3 games in weeks. We play 4 games in 6 days sometimes, and we put a lot of these young players, I think, at risk for playing so many games. And unfortunately, as a coach, if you lose a good player and for an injury at any one time, you could have them out for almost 25% of your season.
And Manhasset dealing with that, especially as on the topic of Olivia Dooley leaving. They are playing without Brianna Stolzheimer today. As Chris Keene says, we just need to rest her. She's been dealing with some things. She's a first-year starting center midfielder. And they're already without Casey Roscoe. And we'll get to that story, I think, later on. But Casey Roscoe was a 3-year starter, headed to Drexel for lacrosse, the lacrosse star. So those are key elements already before the midway point of the season that Manhasset is fortunate that their depth is able to carry them through those things.
You're absolutely correct, and their numbers and their depth have been very important to their success. Nice
Sims,
little pullback.
As Sims able to get around Sam Corrigan. Kendall Sims to goal, and a shot blocked by Mosseri. Kendall Sims on it again with a good cross. That is eventually off the body of Marina Pappas of New Hyde Park to get the clearance as we are midway through this opening half. The clock you see in the scoreboard, by the way, is unofficial. The 2 referees on the field have the exact time remaining. 4-0 New Hyde Park, including 3 goals in a 9-minute span. And we'll get 3 more subs on for Manhasset. So more wholesale changes for the Indians to jumpstart something with still a lot of time left.
Oh, surely there is. Both teams have really made some wholesale changes. Even New Hyde Park has changed their whole front line, taking out the very prolific Aronov as well as Poulos. They're out of the lineup right now with the 4-goal lead. I don't blame Coach Megan Carey to look to try and get some of these other players some game experience.
From Manhasset, Amy Royer has come on, a junior, as has Nicole Garvey, and junior forward Nicole Polano. So they have already played, looks like 6 off the bench through the midway point of the first half. And good ball out wide here for New Hyde Park is also Aisling McGrath, a junior backup forward, has come in for the first time.
And New Hyde Park continues to attack the width, especially on this right side, looking to see if they can get something in behind the defense on the right. They have really used the left very, very little up to this point, Ralph.
And a nice job to break the play up there for Manhasset. And Nicole Garvey in as a holding midfielder. The Indians have come in scoring 6 goals. They've allowed 6. The explosion came against Wantagh just a week ago. Space out wide for Brasido Buzos, who's also in for New Hyde Park. And she and twin sister Andrea, who's a starting left back on this New Hyde Park team. McGrath applying the pressure. It'll be a Manhasset toss-in. All New Hyde Park in this first half. The team with consecutive 9-win seasons, but that has a lot of great history, and that's what added to all the optimism once Julia Aronov decided she will come back and play for the team. This had been building up the last several years. As Kaneda's pass knocked down. And back to get it, sophomore Megan Riley, who's come in at right outside back for Manhasset.
That was a nice step by Andrea Puzos on the far side, Ralph. Playing that outside left back, she took her step forward challenged the ball, winning it, and now got herself into a little bit more of an attacking position for New Hyde Park.
And Buzos herself is back. Now 2 years removed from a torn ACL. Was on and off as a starter last year. Looking for her best season as Tierney Harmon the clearance. With Manhasset on their heels from the opening couple of seconds. And we'll get some more subs for New Hyde Park as Samantha Coop will be one of the players as Coach Chris Keene looks on. His team had been very competitive. I mean, coaches will go through this. His team just put up 5 on Wantagh, a good team, and he's on the other end of it now.
Yeah, you have the ups and downs without a doubt, Ralph. But I think they ran into a red-hot early New Hyde Park team. The Gladiators were ready. And I also believe that there was a little bit of a factor of the time. I don't think the Manhasset team, having come as late as they did, had a real good warm-up. I think they were flat coming off, off the bus, and almost they were still on the bus legs. They hadn't gotten warmed up, and I think New Hyde Park just took it to them early.
And Quijada. And meanwhile, New Hyde Park, a little bit of an abbreviated one themselves with the boys JV team getting the practice field. There's a lot going on today in New Hyde Park, so time was precious. But the Indians came in returning a lot of players that can still have a very strong season. As Chris Keene says, now our strength is its expectations. He's been harping to his team that, look, last year maybe people thought we were expecting to have a little bit of a drop down because it was the senior class that was so good last year. And now there's a bullseye on them, and he wants them to prove that last year wasn't a fluke. And they only graduated 3 seniors that played starters minutes, so the bulk of this team is there. And he points to so much how you have so many lacrosse carryover, that winning a state championship, that pedigree, and going through those experiences and being battle tested, he thinks is absolutely translated to the success that Manhasset has had here in soccer the last couple of years.
I agree with that totally. You cannot teach that. You can't coach the success of a state championship.
Poulos tried to play it across. It was knocked away.
Unfortunately, she was playing it across to nobody. She didn't have runners in the box for New Hyde Park. So she really didn't have a whole lot to be able to do with that, except to perhaps pull it back and look for trailing midfielders that were coming through. But coming back to Manhasset, the success that they had last year, and they did lose 3 starters, but certainly one of them that was very essential was an all-state player, Laura Ferraris. So you lose an all-state player, that also really takes a little bit of a toll. Tough shoes to fill, Ralph.
Yep, and Hallie Palmado, and she was hurt most of last season. But Palmado, she came back healthy for the October stretch run, and now playing a lot at UConn. So some significant players that these Indians players won with, and now look to replace and find new production from. Julia Aronov back on the field for New Hyde Park. Nicolette Caneda. And Caneda at the edge of the box.
Now, I noticed they brought back, as you just pointed out, Aronov, and when they brought her back onto the pitch right now, they're not moving her forward. They're keeping her much more central now in the midfield, and I'm sure that Coach Carey would have told her, really hold your runs and not necessarily to attack, because we're up 4-0. We don't need a lot more goals. We don't need more goals. We really need now to work on our defensive end of the field.
And we'll get a foul and advantage called. We're back on the other end of the field. But that's what makes this New Hyde Park team dangerous. They are playing out of Conference AB3 this year. There are 3 leagues that are Class A schools or B schools, the smallest, and that's based on ability. Manhasset is in the top league, and that's all voted on going back to last December, though. So much can change, of course, when you reacquire a player back into your district the way New Hyde Park did. That certainly changes the balances.
Changes the complexion of things for sure. And recently, Suffolk girls did the very same thing, Ralph. They went now to a power structure among their leagues as well.
And we've seen that in Nassau County on the boys' soccer side and for a long time in girls' lacrosse. Bouzos. Yeah, looked to lane into some space as Manhasset subbed Kelly Trotta back onto the field.
Now, one of the things I see now, Ralph, too, if you look at the field, Manhasset has 2 players up at the midfield. Look at the gap between their midfielders and their forwards. It's a huge gap, and they really are going to have to bring back some players to help get the ball out of that defensive third.
Bouzos looked to get the ball into the 18. And the Indians have had very little possession in this opening half. Samantha Bravo also on the field for the first time, a senior outside midfielder for New Hyde Park.
You know, one of the things, too, we talk about the power structure and how Manhasset is in AB1 versus AB3 for New Hyde Park. In this game, as it starts, there is more pressure on Manhasset being in that top league to come away with a W today, as opposed to New Hyde Park, who says, I got nothing to lose. I'm in the third, AB3, and everything to gain if I can beat an AB1 team. So they come in a little bit loose, as opposed to Manhasset, who has a little bit more pressure on them to try and come away with the W.
Yeah, at least on paper, the way it looks like. But I'm not so sure, Carrie, if the players may necessarily pay a whole lot of attention to it, or do you as a coach want to let them know exactly what the hierarchy is?
Oh, I absolutely would say something to my players to let them know this is a chance for us to make a statement. This is an opportunity for us to show that we are a competitive team with the AB1s.
Yeah, the AB1s, usual suspects, programs like Southside that's won the most state championships out of anybody in New York State. Wantagh, North Shore, last year's county champs for the first time, and with Calhoun dropping in. Then there's a middle AB2, which we're not showing, and then AB3. So there will be some movement between conferences based on what coaches lobby, who may graduate huge classes, who may be looking better than the year before. And that, of course, goes into what schedule you play. And that's why they call it an ability-based league. But people like it because it creates even better competition, less games that are lopsided. Maria Poulos.
A nice little scissor move.
Kelly Trotta is now playing at a holding mid spot. A verbal commitment to Marist for lacrosse. What a season Kelly had back in the springtime. Good ball service, but there is Joanna Mosseri again to clean it up.
Yeah, Manhasset might also think about, I know there's still certainly some time. Well, look at this steal. It's a one-on-one.
Maria Poulos. Poulos back to her left foot and couldn't get a lot on it as Kelly Trotta was able to recover.
Now, that was a nice little steal there by Poulos, and she had an opportunity to go in one-on-one. Took it to the left foot. I give her credit for taking it with the left foot. There's the cut to the left, and now she'll look to try and get it with her left foot. Just clearly doesn't hit it as she would have hoped. But what I was making reference to just a short while ago is I would think that Manhasset might even think about pushing up a player and maybe getting a player up on to Mosseri to get them up a little bit higher and stretch them.
Kelly Trotta, as we touched on, an all-county season of the spring, led Manhasset during their state championship run, scoring over 50 goals. Already a 2-year starter on the attack that will play at Marist. And tough in that sport, varsity basketball conference. And will have one of the rare opportunities to be all-county in 3 sports by the end of the year. They think that much of her here in soccer as a center back. Andrea Bouzos to the feet of Aronov, who has 3 of the 4 New Hyde Park goals, as Bouzos makes the overlapping run.
Nice ball played. Here's the service.
Erin Trotta able to hold the pipe there with some traffic in front.
She does a nice job in her positioning, but again, she didn't hold it cleanly. She gave a little bit of a bounce to Trotta, but that was a nice ball played in again by Aronov. She does a nice job, and she really makes the players around her better. Here's the service coming across, and that's the defender attacking. That's Buzos. And again, Trotta has to hold that one.
Meanwhile, following the Manhasset foul, this is within Aronov's range. 40-yard opportunity, but you would like to have done better with it. She had a runner through the middle.
Yeah, I'm not sure that she was looking to take a shot there or if she was looking to play the ball through the middle. She's pretty far out for any high school player to take a shot on goal from where she was, and I think you were being generous saying 40. I think it was closer to probably 50 yards out.
She heads out for Marina Pappas. All the goals coming in the first 12 minutes. And just as New Hyde Park got settled into the game, Manhasset has been able to at least level it a bit, making a lot of substitutions, trying to jumpstart things. And a good ball into some space. Look to go out wide for Angie Macchio, who's come in for the first time. 8 in white. And a deep throw coming in as Alexis Powers will get the throw off the flag. As Powers played it short. Like most teams, Manhasset, it was an abbreviated preseason. It was so difficult for everybody. Just the mindset, as Chris Keene talked about, it got thrown all out of whack. You had the weather and the heat. There were 2 scrimmages that were canceled. Manhasset put together a non-league game against East Meadow. That's always a very good barometer test. East Meadow with several Division I bound players in the next couple of classes. But having 2 scrimmages canceled, that certainly will affect you in terms of getting chemistry or getting people back into the soccer frame of mind.
100% correct. You need those scrimmages to really be able to evaluate your players going against another team. You know, you can only do so much when they go against one another that they see every day, that they're their friends and they are in the same building and they're in the same classes. It's when they go against another face, a stranger, someone they don't know. How do they perform under that condition? And that's what those scrimmages allow coaches to do. And also, more importantly, because both teams had pretty veteran teams, gives the coach an opportunity to see who are going to be the new players that can contribute. You know what you have coming back. You don't know who the new players are.
And in the case of New Hyde Park with Megan Carey, when you're a new coach just hired in August, it gives you that much less time to evaluate who you have.
And for you to get to know the players, and for them to get to know you and what your expectations are and what you demand of the players.
But as Megan explained, you know, she's already seen a great level of soccer, having played at Adelphi. She spent the last 4 years in Massapequa coaching under one of your old pals. And Coach Stegner out there, 4 years there as the JV coach in the Massapequa soccer culture that exists. And she jumped on this chance when talking to the athletic director, T.J. Burke, upon it being offered to her. Here's a good ball into the box, trying to turn Samantha Bravo. Bravo gets the shot off, and the save made by Trotta.
A fingertip save by Aaron. That was a nicely taken shot by Bravo with the left foot. Tell my players, go low to far, and that's a nicely taken shot. Here's the replay. Watch the left foot. She goes to the back post, and it was just a fingertip save by Trotta. Look at that. Giving up the corner kick.
Samantha Bravo off the bench, looking for her first career varsity goal. Would have been a dandy. And Trotta with 5 stops has been very busy. But to the point that Megan Carey saw when the New Hyde Park job was open, this being their 3rd different coach in 3 years, she saw that there were 11 seniors back, Aronov being verbally committed to Rutgers, and a lot of other soccer-centric players with one of the top local organizations around as Bravo picks up possession again for McGrath. The New Hyde Park Wildcats. This is a shot, and it's ticketed for the corner. Maria Poulos just let it rip. 5-0 New Hyde Park in the first half.
What a nicely taken shot by Maria Poulos. Only a sophomore, usually plays on the flank, but she hits this one first time, doesn't settle the ball. She does the right thing. Here's the ball being played across. First time hit by Poulos, and she puts it in the back of the net. Second goal of the season.
McGrath will get the assist, nudging it over to her, but Poulos, another travel soccer player with the Sousa Academy, had a goal against Bethpage. Last year, 3 goals and 2 assists, primarily starting around the midfield. And New Hyde Park with a season-high 5 goals. And you're seeing that this Gladiators team, why they were so optimistic that they have so much besides just one really talented all-Long Island potential player.
They have players that are very technical at a number of different positions, Ralph. I think they're going to be a force to be reckoned with in AB3 without a doubt.
We presume we're in the final minute of the opening half. Again, the official time is kept on the field by our lead referee, but this has gone as great as New Hyde Park could have hoped. After these two teams tangled in the last couple of years in a regular season meeting, one last year by New Hyde Park against the playoff finalist Manhasset, and then 2 years ago, Manhasset winning a playoff quarterfinal meeting 1-0. That's the half. Manhasset would love to regroup. New Hyde Park putting together perhaps their best 40 minutes of the season. 3 goals from Julia Aronov. They've been all just terrific strikes, and the Gladiators in total command. We're coming back to show you some first half highlights and numbers on Verizon Fios 1 Sports.
I'm a veteran. We hit a mine in Vietnam. When I came home, I didn't know where to turn.
As America's veterans face challenges, DAV is there.
My victory's been never giving up hope. My wife is always there to remind me we have a life to live.
DAV provides a lifetime of support, helping veterans of every generation.